I reported my dad to CPS after what I heard him say to my little brother.
My name is Natalie, I'm 19, and I found out the person who destroyed my trust in relationships forever wasn't some random guy online or a toxic ex or a stranger. It was my own mother. I grew up pretty sheltered. Strict house, early curfews. No dating until you're older. All that. My mom always said it was because she knew how men think and wanted to protect me. My parents divorced when I was little, and she never really dated again. Just poured everything into being supermom. I wasn't allowed social media until I was 16, and even then it came with rules. She had my passwords. She checked my messages for safety. She wanted to know who everyone was. By the time I graduated high school, I felt like I was living in a tiny box with bars made of, "I'm just worried about you." When I finally moved to a small apartment for college in the same city, I thought things would relax. They didn't. She called constantly, wanted to know where I was, with who, what time I'd be back, whether there would be guys there. I tried to set boundaries, but anytime I resisted, she'd cry and say, "I'm just trying to make sure you don't get hurt like I did." I started spending more time online than in real life because it felt like the only space that was actually mine. That's where Ethan showed up. I met him on a fandom forum first, then we moved to Instagram DMs, then to a messaging app. He said he was 21, studying computer science in another state. Introverted, kind of lonely, super into the same shows and music as me. He was respectful, funny, never pushed for anything too weird, and he listened. Really listened. I vented about school, stress, feeling suffocated by my mom. He always said the right things. "You deserve independence. You're not crazy for wanting space. You're more mature than everyone around you." I'd never had a boyfriend, never even had a crush who liked me back. So of course, I started to fall for this guy who lived behind a screen and made me feel seen, in a way I'd never felt at home. For almost 6 months, Ethan was the best part of my day. We messaged constantly. Good morning texts, memes in the afternoon, long conversations at night about our childhoods, fears, dreams. He never called me names, never made fun of my feelings, never told me I was too sensitive like my mom did when I cried. He told me I was smart and funny and way too good for the way people treat you. I told him things I'd never told anyone. How guilty I felt wanting space from my mom, how trapped I'd felt growing up, how scared I was of letting her down. He always said, "You're not responsible for her happiness." Little by little, he started flirting. Nothing explicit, just soft, careful compliments. "If I were there, I'd take you out to your favorite coffee place and listen to you talk all day," or, "Any guy would be lucky to have you." I blushed behind my screen like an idiot. My friends at college knew there was someone I talked to, but I was embarrassed to admit I'd never even seen his face properly. Anytime I asked for a video call, he had an excuse. Bad Wi-Fi, messy room, I hate how I look on camera. He sent a couple of photos that matched his story. Average cute guy in a hoodie, gaming setup in the background. I reverse searched them once and nothing came up, so I let it go. Meanwhile, my mom kept tightening the leash. She didn't like my new friends. Didn't like when I got home late from studying at the library. Didn't like when I didn't answer her calls immediately. One night after we argued, I ended up crying in my room, texting Ethan this massive rant about feeling like I was still 12. He responded almost immediately. "I wish I could be there to tell her to back off. You're an adult, Nat. You deserve a life." Then he wrote, "You know I care about you, right? More than just as a friend." My heart actually skipped. I stared at that message for a full minute before replying, "Yeah, I care about you too." We didn't label anything, but from that moment, it felt like we were something. He started calling me my girl and talking about visiting once he saved enough for a ticket. I knew it was risky to fall for someone I'd never met, but after years of being treated like a child in my own home, being treated like an equal, even if it was through text, felt like oxygen. I thought I'd finally found someone who was on my side. I had no idea that side was still inside my mother's house. The cracks started showing in the strangest way. One weekend, my mom came over to check on my apartment. I'd hidden any mention of Ethan, no notifications on screen, no open chats. We made dinner together. She seemed almost calm, asking about my classes, listening without immediately judging. Then she said, "Have you made any guy friends yet?" in that casual, not casual tone. I shrugged and said, "A few," trying to keep it vague. She laughed softly. "You know I worry about some random guy manipulating you, right? Men online can be dangerous." I rolled my eyes and said, "Yeah, I know." She looked at me in this weird way and said, "You're too trusting, Natalie." Something in my chest tightened. Later that night, after she left, I noticed something off. Ethan was quieter. His typing style felt different somehow. It sounds crazy, but when you talk to someone all day for months, you recognize their rhythm, their little habits. Suddenly he was using phrases he'd never used before. Short, sharp sentences, less emojis. When I mentioned that my mom had visited, he replied, "She's just concerned in her own way," which was the opposite of what he usually said. I brushed it off as my imagination. A few days later, my friend Mia convinced me to go out for coffee. While we were talking, I mentioned Ethan, half joking, half confessing. She frowned and asked, "Have you ever video called him? Like, ever?" I admitted I hadn't. She gave me a look. Girl, catfish 101. On the way back, I decided to finally push it. I texted Ethan, "Random, but can we video call tonight? Even for 5 minutes? I want to see your face when you make fun of my coffee order." There was a long pause, longer than usual. Then he answered, "I don't like video calls, Nat. You know that." I pushed. "One time, just once. I've told you everything about my life and I haven't even heard your voice properly. It would make me feel less crazy." Another pause. Then, "You don't trust me?" That stung. I dropped it for the moment, but something inside me was buzzing. A couple of nights later, I was at my mom's house for dinner. She left her phone on the counter when she went to take clothes out of the dryer. A notification popped up, and my blood ran cold. It was from the same messaging app I used with Ethan. The preview showed, "Nat keeps asking for a video call. What do I say?" And the contact name at the top said work group, but the message format, the icon. It was the exact same app. My heart started hammering against my ribs. I shouldn't have, I know, but my hand moved on its own. I picked up her phone, opened the app, and saw a chat labeled with a man's name I didn't recognize. At the top of the screen, in the input bar, my mom had typed, but not yet sent. "I think she's starting to suspect." Time slowed down. My fingers were shaking so badly I almost dropped the phone. I scrolled up just a little bit and saw enough to understand everything in one dizzying rush. There were messages from days and weeks before, screenshots of my text to Ethan, discussions about what they should say to guide her. Comments like, "She opened up about feeling controlled. I used that to validate her. And she trusts Ethan more than she trusts me now." The man on the other side was apparently some coworker of my mom's from her office, divorced and bored, who liked experimenting with online personas. At one point he wrote, "This is messed up, you know," and my mom had replied, "I'm her mother. I need to know what she's doing and thinking. This is the only way she's honest." There was even a message about the fake photos. "Found some guy's pictures who doesn't show up on a quick search. She bought it," followed by a laughing emoji. I felt like I was going to throw up. I put the phone back exactly where she'd left it and somehow sat back down at the table. When she walked back in, all I could see was Ethan in her eyes. The way he'd comforted me, the way he'd told me I deserved independence, the way he'd flirted just enough to keep me hooked. It was all her. My own mother had catfished me, used my loneliness like a tool, and then dared to act like she was protecting me from dangerous people online. I didn't confront her right then. I went home, cried until my eyes hurt, then saved every conversation with Ethan and wrote down what I'd seen in her phone before I could doubt myself. The next day, I asked her to meet me at a cafe. She showed up smiling like nothing was wrong. I slid my phone across the table, opened to a chat with Ethan, and said, "Say hi to yourself." She froze. The color drained from her face. For the first time in my life, she didn't have a quick answer ready. I told her exactly what I'd seen on her phone, exactly what I knew. She tried to spin it at first, said she was testing me, said she wanted to teach me how easy it was to be manipulated, said she was playing a role so I could express myself safely. I asked her if lying to me for months, flirting with me, encouraging me to vent about her under a fake identity sounded safe or healthy. I told her it felt like emotional incest, like she'd crawled inside my head with a mask on and rearranged my trust in people just to prove she was right about the world being dangerous. She cried. She apologized. Then she got angry and called me ungrateful. I walked out. I blocked Ethan, deleted the account, and went low contact with my mom. Therapy has been a lot. I'm still unpacking what it means when the person who's supposed to protect you decides the only way to keep you safe is to become the exact predator they warned you about. I'm more cautious now, sometimes too cautious. I second-guess everyone's intentions. But I'm slowly learning that my mom's paranoia isn't the same as reality, and that her choosing to catfish her own daughter says more about her brokenness than my worth. So if you're listening to this and you've ever been told, "I'm doing this because I love you," by someone who is secretly controlling you, spying on you, or testing you, remember this. Love doesn't need a fake profile to talk to you honestly.